kind of wonder sometimes. Woo, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He's going to start losing the ability to drive.
Welcome to Viral Twist. Today, we will watch a fast-paced chase that takes a sudden turn, ending in a crash that stops everything in an instant.
Now we're back on the southbound 5. We went through the Glendale area, came back to that 5, and now we're back on that southbound 5. Not sure if maybe he took the... Whoa! Oh, my goodness. And, you know, it is a big pickup truck. It is a newer pickup truck, so you know these vehicles have that automatic stability in there. But you know what? When you push it to those type of limits, you know, everything has a limit. And, of course, that driver might make a wrong decision or a poor decision, and even that truck, being as new and as solid as it is, might still cause a crash. You can see that vehicle still moving along, using every lane right there. Comes close to so many other vehicles, and that's concerning to me as well. I wonder if that driver's thinking, well, maybe if I bump into somebody or cause some sort of accident, you know, then they'll stop chasing me, and that is very, very concerning. Again, though, those numbers, they're not lying. We've seen that vehicle hit those triple digits. I would venture to say there's probably a limiter on there, a newer vehicle, probably going to top out right about 120. But now we're seeing a little bit, I mean, we're still almost at 100 miles an hour, but you can see right there, like you mentioned, lighter traffic out here. That's a plus-ish, but it also gives that vehicle a lot of room to do all these maneuvers, we're going to call it that right now, and those high speeds, definitely frightening for me. I can't imagine what that officer in that vehicle right behind him is dealing with right now. Definitely, and these higher speeds, that is the most concerning part of all this. Now, there already was one officer in a crash at the 170 and the 5 freeway, and again, hopefully that person is okay, that officer's okay, and whoever that collided with is okay. But look at that. Look, we got traffic going on down there, and this vehicle continuing on in that emergency lane at these high speeds, zipping by all these other cars, and look, he's straddling the line, so he's getting very, very close to all those other vehicles down there. That must be very, very concerning to all those cars. Hopefully there is no contact. We haven't seen anything, but it definitely looks like that vehicle is trying to intimidate other vehicles or maybe push over to one of those other cars. And of course, California Highway Patrol, I'm wondering if they're staying behind him because of all of that. They might be just kind of right now just going to let it go for a little bit, let the helicopter follow it. But you can see that truck still making these high-speed maneuvers. Southbound 5 freeway, we're in the Glendale area right now, but we're in the Los Feliz area, but you can tell right now that that vehicle is still moving around at a very, very fast speed and weaving in and out of between these cars. That is the concerning part. This part right here, that's probably as slow as we've seen it go the entire time.
Well, it's interesting that you were noticing the way this driver was driving along Whoa. Yeah, it's almost like you said intimidation, but to me it looks as though sometimes, you know, when you drive a vehicle you're not used to driving, perhaps it's a different size, you're not really aware of how to use that vehicle. That's what it looks like to me.
It could be. It definitely could be. That truck responding to whatever that driver's doing there behind the wheel, and it is swerving around. You know, it is a pickup truck as well. The newer trucks, they try to make that weight distribution a little bit better for the common driver. Look at that, kind of caught in that groove right there. As we're continuing on, I think we just made that transition, or maybe not. Looks like we're right up on the gore point. Looks like we're making that transition over to the 110 freeway. This is going to be very tight, and this is going to be a very sharp turn up there. I'm not sure if that driver aware of the area. I did see those brake lights coming on, but this is a spot again where it gets so tight, and if there's any traffic, there could be a problem. Look at that person. Probably saw that in the rearview mirror. Up there's the California Highway Patrol. Maybe they heard those lights and sirens, but definitely was trying to get out of the way of that big truck barreling down on him. Now we're making that turn. There's a California Highway Patrol helicopter. Makes a really pretty picture, but this vehicle, at least I'm seeing a little bit slower speeds, and of course everybody else is probably just like, what is going on? Now we're starting to make that transition over to the 110 South, downtown Los Angeles. I have a feeling that there's going to be a little bit of traffic coming up, and you know, Roxy, we both are on that same page. You kind of wonder, maybe a little bit more traffic might slow these speeds down a little bit, or create a problem where this truck just gets boxed in, which would be okay as long as that driver doesn't try to do bodily harm or try to push his way out of that situation. But it looks like, again, again, might be wrong because it looks like he's got plenty of room to make any of these moves that he's been making for this entire pursuit.
Right. I mean, with more cars on the road, it does complicate it, and I guess it could make that driver slow down, but at the same time, it increases the risk of innocent drivers getting injured in this process. Oftentimes with these pursuits, we always talk about it, the people who are out on the road, they're not sitting at home watching the news. They might not be listening to the radio. They're just driving and minding their own business, and they don't know what they're dealing with out there, and they could very well be put into harm's way.
That is the biggest concern whenever we watch these pursuits. I really, truly mean that. I'm always worried about all those folks that this person is just zipping and whizzing by and getting so close to. That could be one of your loved ones out there just making their drive home or going to work or doing their errands, and then you've got this guy just ripping through there. And, you know, again, California Highway Patrol, they're doing what they can. Lights and sirens, warning the public, telling people, hey, basically you need to kind of move over. Look at this. Look at this. Yeah, you know, it's the first time I've seen somebody on that far right driving slow, and I'm appreciating it. Well, that truck did definitely slow down a little bit, making our way over to that transition where it does get backed up, and there's a little bit of usually a little bit of confusion. I'm sorry about that, guys. I think we actually even lost the IFB to southbound 10 at Expo, so he's got to be somewhere right here because this is the general area where we are, and still trying to pick it back up. There it is, yeah, and
okay.
That was a little bit painful. I'm sorry that we lost it there for just a little bit.
It is what it is.
And, you know, now he's continuing on. You know, the drive is a little bit slower. That rear wheel definitely coming apart, and I have a feeling that is it is slowing this guy down. We did notice that earlier on when he was basically swerving around on the freeway. That tire now coming apart. You know, I always say this, and when we see these chases, hopefully that vehicle will give up before the driver does. But sometimes, like with this guy driving, I don't think that losing that tire is going to create too much of a deterrent for that driver. He's just going to keep pushing that truck, and now it's going to be handicapped as well. That's going to create more problems. It's going to slow him. It's going to create the braking issues and also swerving issues. We definitely see those speeds slowing down as well. I'm going to bring back up the map for you guys so you can keep an eye on it and see where we are. That tire just about coming off. But I also kind of wonder sometimes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He's going to start losing the ability to drive out of the vehicle and running. And, you know, there we go, run, and there's California Highway Patrol right behind him.